Ezra Hashem, today's daf is Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Yutes, number 19. And we are beginning Daf Yud Chesed base, 3 lines from the bottom. Where this parak is called the parak of a Kohen Gadol, and these are the laws of a Kohen Gadol. So the Mishnah, one of the laws of the Kohen Gadol that's written in the Torah, that he can't marry an almana. He can't marry a widower. So, and the Mishnah says that also, therefore, if his brother dies without children, he can't be miyabim his brother's wife. So, so Gemara deals with that. 3 lines from the bottom. Kapasik vitani. The Mishnah says absolutely. Hi, Sheldon. We just began.
Hi.
That's Summit Bays.
Okay.
Mishnah says, yeah, Kohen Gadol, this parak is called the parak Kohen Gadol. It discusses the laws of a Kohen Gadol. And one of the laws of the Kohen Gadol is he can't marry a widower. He has to marry a virgin, a basula. So that's the Torah says that. Now, what happens when his brother's wife, when his brother dies and leaves over no children? The Mishnah says he does not do any yibum. So kapasik vitani, the Mishnah says absolutely doesn't matter how his brother, how his brother's wife falls to yibum. It's no difference if his brother actually married the woman, so then she's not a basulif, and even if the brother did not marry uh, the 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 woman, she just only made kedushin on the woman, but he never lived with her, never went to chuppah with her. Still, when his brother dies, the Kohen Gadol cannot be miyabin his wife. So the Gemara wants to understand why not. Bishlam min hanesuin, when his brother's wife, when they did nisuin, and she falls from a complete marriage. So she was married to the brother. So there's 2 problems to her. One, she's a widower, and number 2, she's not a basula. So therefore, the mitzvah of yibam is just a mitzvah saseh and have a essay veloisase. But on this woman, she has an essay because she's not a besula, and a lois essay, he's not allowed to marry her because she's an almana. So we go to top of Yud Testament Aleph. The ain essay and the essay of doing yibam cannot override lois essay ve essay. It cannot override a double problem of a lois essay and an essay. Elamina Erison Amai. Why can't he do Yibam from Erison? If the woman fell from Erison, that means his brother never had relations with the woman. He just made Kedushin. So Yavoy essay, let the essay of the mitzvah to marry your brother's wife, V'yitcha say should override the loisa say that she's an almana. And the Torah says don't marry an almana, but you have an essay to marry this person because it's your brother's wife. Answers the Gemara, true. Gezerah bia rishona ota bia shnia. That if he stays with her the first time, you're allowed to do yibam. That's the first intercourse. But the second time, it's just a regular marriage. And then this lady was once married and will always be known as an almana, as a widower. As a widow, so therefore he would not be able to stay with this woman. He could do it the first time, but not the second time. You see, when he marries a regular Yisrael, marries his brother's wife, there is no Isser Eishes Ach in those situations. So therefore, so it's not an essay doichaloisis. She's not an Eishes Ach. So a regular Yibam can remain married. Here, she will always remain this Almana. So the first time he does it, he has the mitzvah of Yibam. So he has the mitzvah to say, will override the lois to say. But beyond that, it will not work anymore. So that's why we don't allow him to do that with this woman. Can't be miyabim any woman. Tanyanami hachami in kamim v'ala bia rishayna kanu. If he actually the kohen gadol jumped the gun and did a bia with her, it's his wife. V'asa l'kaimim, but he's not allowed to stay with that wife. But bia shnia to do the next relations because then that's not the mitzvah anymore. Then the Mishnah says, mace loy mace. If one of his relatives dies, so the Mishnah said that he really shouldn't follow the mace. Now, remember, a regular kohen, could be mitama to his 7 relatives. He's not allowed to go to anybody's levaya, but he could be mitama to his mother, father, and close relatives. However, a kohen gadol, when he loses a relative, he should not even attend the levaya, and if he is attending the levaya, he should not go too close to the coffin. Even walking on the street, he should be very far that he can't even see it. That's what the Mishnah says. And why? Because if he gets too close, we're afraid that he's going to jump, and because of his tsar, he's going to touch the coffin. So Taner Rabbanim. But Rabbi Yehuda says he's not allowed to even go out of the Beis Hamikdash to go to the Levaya. So that's a machlekes Rameir and Chachamim. Rameir says he could go to the Levaya and walk beyond the casket, but he should be at a very hidden distance from the casket. But Rabbi Yehuda says he shouldn't even leave the Beis Hamikdash for the levaya of his relative, of his father, mother, whatever. Tarabban, the rabbis taught, the Torah tells you that the Kohen Gadol can never leave the Beis Hamikdash. Layetzi imonim, he cannot go after them. Aval yoytzuhu acharehem, he could go beyond. He could follow the coffin, but at a distance. Ketzad, not together with the coffin, but at a distance. In other words, they should be in a situation where he can't really see the coffin. They turn a corner, then he could enter the street where he won't be able to see them. And then they turn another corner, he can turn that corner. In other words, they appear and he's hidden. So, but he could follow along with the procession because he's such a distance, he's not going to jump onto the coffin. So v'yoytze ala Pesach. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda says he shouldn't even attend the Levaya. Why? Because the Torah says min hamikdash lo yetzi. He should not leave the Beis Hamikdash. So Shap become Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda says very good to Rabbi Meir. How can you say he can attend the funeral procession? The pasuk says that a kohen gadol should never leave the Beis Hamikdash. Amalach Rabbi Meir. So Rabbi Meir will answer Rabbi Yehuda, Yehachi, if that's what the Torah means, lebeisei nami, he should never even go home. Kohen Gadol should always be sleeping in the Beis Hamikdash, and we know that's not the pshat. Elehachi kama min hamikdash lo yese means min k'tushasei lo yese. He should never leave his holiness. In other words, what the Torah is telling you, not from the Beis Hamikdash he shouldn't leave, but he shouldn't defile his holiness by being metama even to a relative. The kevin de'islei hekera le'aslim minga. Since there's a recognition that he's so far away from the casket, so then he's not going to come to touch the casket. Rabbi Yehuda says, Agav Marore, Rabbi Yehuda goes even further. Because he's so bitter, it could be that he'll come to touch the casket. So really there's no foolproof way of him not being Netama himself unless we don't allow him to attend the Levaya. Then the Mishnah said, Kishuhu menachem, when he comforts others. So, Tana Rabbanan, how does a Kohen Gadol? A Kohen Gadol always has to be like the center, surrounded by bodyguards, so to speak. When in those days, they used to queue up a line and to menachem the aval. So when they queue up with the Kohen Gadol to be menachem somebody, let's say he wants to be menachem aval somebody. So Osgan, his assistant, Umashiach Sha'avar, and the Kohen Gadol that was at one time his substitute. Let's say the Kohen Gadol became Tameh and Yom Kippur, and they put a substitute. So that substitute does the job on that Yom Kippur, but then retires when the original Kohen Gadol comes back. So that Kohen is called Meshuach Sha'avar. So Biminoi, that's on his right side. V'rosh Beis Av, the head of the court, the Supreme Court should be on his left side. But Avelim also, and everybody on the Avelim and all the people should be on his left side. So I guess he turns to the Avelim and says, Hamakim Menachem Eschem. So Kushu Oymed Bishura Umasnachem Echem. Let's say he's at the end of the line and people are coming to comfort him. So he shouldn't be sitting there alone. Sagan Mimina, the helper should be on the right side, and all the people, and the Rosh Beitzaz, the Bezdin, and some other people should be on the left side. So he always looks like he's surrounded by a lot of people. But the Mishnah says, the Brisa says, Alva Mashuach Sha'ava Loi Asi Lagabe. The Mashiach, in other words, the Kohen Gadol that substituted him for a one time should not come Menachem Oval him. And the Gemara says, why not? My Tama, it's his substitute. Chol Shadaita, because the Kohen Gadol sitting there and sees his substitute, his replacement is right there, being Menachem Aval, so he's going to think Sava Kichad. He's going to think that this guy that's coming to be Menachem Aval, his substitute, his replacement, is happy that he's sitting Shiva. So therefore, for certain people, it's not worth it to go Menachem Aval. If somebody has something with you, you should not be Menachem Aval because they think that you're smiling at their misfortune. Omar Papa said, Shmamina Muhammad Nisa Tlas. We learned three ideas from this brisa. Shmamina Haini Sagan Haini Mamuma. That another name for the word Sagan is Mamuna, as our Mishnah uses the term Mamuna, but it also means Sagan, his helper. Ushmamina Avelim Oimdim V'cholam Oivrim. That when the Menachem Aval, the Avelim sit and all the people pass and be Menachem Aval. Now, this is very different than what we do in a Beis HaKvaros. When we have a Beis HaKvaros, after the burial, the Avelim go through the two rows of people, and everybody says Hamakim Menachem Eskem. And the idea is that minhag changed, because it used to be the Avelim stood, and let's say from two sides, and the people walked through saying Hamakim Menachem Eskem. But we'll see why it changed. Ushma mina avelim smoilai amanachem heimen oindim. That the avelim should sit onto the left of the people that are coming to b'menachem. So I guess if they're sitting down, they should be on the left side of the people passing through. Tanrabanim. It used to be that the Avelim would stay on the left side, let's say, sitting down, and people would pass before them in the basic Kvaras saying Hamakim Menachas Eschem. But what happened was, there were two families in Jerusalem that had, quarrels with each other. And they would come to be Menachem Aval, a certain person. Zoysemeres, this family said, I want to queue up and go first to be Menachem Aval. Zoysemeres, and this one said, I want to be the one first going. So they reversed it, and that's the way you do if you ever went to a basic chorus where the people line up on both sides and the Avelim walk past through. Oma Rabbi Yechomi bar Chama, Oma Rami bar Abba, Hechse Rabbi Yossi Esadov Eliyoshnim b'Tzipori. In Tzipori, Rabbi Yossi turned it back to its old custom. She Avelim Oimdim v'Cholam Oimdim. That the Avelim stood on one side and people would pass them. So in Tzipori they had that minhag, the old minhag. V'Amar Rabbi Abba. Hiskin Rabbi Yossi b'Tzipori shloitei isha mahalachas b'shuk of no'echra. Rabbi Yossi made a safety. In Tzipori, he made a safety law that a woman carrying a child should not have the child following her, but the child should be in front of her. Because there was a very bad story in Tzipori where a man kidnapped a child right behind, that was walking behind a lady, and then came to the lady and said, if you want to see your child, come here. And they brought the lady to a secluded spot and raped her. So because of that, as for safety reasons, from now on, a woman with a child should have the child walking in front of her so that she could always keep an eye on the child. So Rabbi Bar Abba said, Hiskin Rabbi Yossi b'Tzipori. Rabbi Yossi made a new law in Tzipori, because if women, that used to be in the outhouse was out in the field, and if there are women in the outhouse, in the bathroom, so to speak, they should talk to each other so that a man should not approach, because if a man doesn't hear anybody, he might come to the Beis HaKisei and have yichud with the two women, and one man with two women is yichud. So they should talk to each other while they're doing their business, so that the man will know to stay away because it's occupied. Ama Abnashir Bar Us. Sheiltis, Rab Nashim Bar Uz said, Sheiltis as Rabbi Yoshia Rabba Bebeis Alman de Hotzel Ba'amali. And he said to me, they asked the question, Ein Shura Pchocha Pchusim Asar B'nei Adam. The queue has to be, because the tzibur, again, in the cemetery, the tzibur is Menachem Aval. Now, how many people should be there? That's why when you say you need a minyan for the burial, it's for the Menachem Aval. So the shura of people, The line should not have less than 10 people there for the cemetery, burying somebody. The Ein Avelim in a minion, and we don't count the Aval as part of the 10. Bein Shavelim, Oindim V'cholam Oivrim, Bein Shavelim, Oivrim V'cholam Oimdim. Doesn't matter which way you have the minug, whether Avelim are standing or passing through, you always need 10 people there as part of the Menachem Aval. Kshubas Nachrim. Okay. They asked the question, Ki menachem hu achrina, when a kohen gadol gives others comforted, heicha amalahu, what should he say to other people who are sitting shiva? Tashmav hu oimer tenachamu. He says to them that you should be comforted. That's it. That's all. He shouldn't say hamokim menachem maskam. He just says tisnachamu. That's his words. And that what heichadami? What's the brisa talking about? If the brisa is talking about the kohen gadol sitting shiva, and he's responding back to them, he's going to tell them you should be menachem. Nachsha karamile, is he giving them a jinx? In other words, he's sitting shiva. They come and wish him well, so he tells them back, you should have menachem. God should comfort you. Basically, he's saying you should shiva also. He's telling his visitors you should shiva. That cannot be shot in the brisa. Ella ki menachem lachrin. If he goes visit other people who are sitting shiva, this is what the brisa means. Amalahu, he should tell them tenachemanu shmamina. This is the proof that that's what it means. Okay, aval malchei beis David. Melech loidan. The Mishnah continues this discussion and talks about a king. So the Mishnah says a king should not be a dayan. Amar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef said, remember, in the Jewish world, there were two types of kings. The kings that came from David HaMelech's family, and then it split after Shlomo HaMelech to Malchi Yisrael. They were king over the 10 tribes. They were called the kings of the Jewish people. Also, there were kings that were from Kahanim. Remember, during the second Beis Hamikdash, the Chashmonaim decided to become, because they were granted autonomy, they were actually kings, and they considered themselves kings. So, Amar Rav Yosef, Lo Shanu, it was not taught that a melech cannot be a judge, El Malchi Yisrael. Only the Malchi Yisrael, kingdom from the 10 tribes, or from the Chashmonaim. They're not allowed to be judges. Aval Malchi is based David, the kingdom from the family of David, Don v'Don and Oisai. They could be a judge and they could be judged. There's no immunity. The Ksiv based David Koyam Hashem Dinay Labayka Mishpat. Hashem said that you should sit in judgment as a king to the family of David. If they cannot be judged, then how could they be the judge? First beautify yourself, and then you can beautify others. But the pasuk says that they could be a judge. So if they can be a judge, they can judge others. If others can judge them, that means you can take them to court. You can take the king to court. But that's only by Malchei Beis David. By Malchei Yisrael, a Jewish king from the Chashmonaim, let's say, you could not take them to court, and they cannot be a judge. Now, El Malchi Yisrael my tamaloi. Why can't you have a judge from Malchi Yisrael? So the Gemara says a fascinating thing, because they're too intimidating. If they was too scary and they were too more like tyrants, and therefore they cannot be a judge. Let me tell you a story. The Avdei, the servant of Yanai Malka, Yanai was considered one of the Chashmonaim kings. Yanai the king. He married this famous woman called Shlomtzion. Katal Nafshi. So his servant killed somebody. So it's his servant, his personal aide. We're going to put this servant on trial, and we're going to judge him. They sent a message to the king. Avdech Katal Nafshi. Your servant killed somebody. Shadr Lehei, and he sent his servant to the court. Shalchalei, they said, To ant nami lahacha. You have to also come to court, because the servant is like your ox that killed somebody, and therefore, who had bevalav amra Torah, Yovid balashar v'yamar al shari. Since it's your money and it's like your ox, you should have to attend the court proceedings. So they schlepped Yanai out of the palace to come to court. Asav Yosef, he sat in the gallery. Amalei Shimon ben Shatach, Yanai HaMelech. Shimon ben Shatach said, Yanai the king, Amoid al recha v'ida b'cha. stand on your feet and let us say, witness, testify against you that your slave killed somebody. You're not standing in front of us. You're standing in front of the God, whoever created the world. So he was asked to testify that this is his slave, so to speak. He said, I'm not standing. Only if the rest of the court will tell me to stand, then I'm going to stand. If not, I'm not getting up. We go to Amid Beis. Nifnei liyaminai. He turned to his right. Shimon Shatach was looking for support from his colleagues to say to Yanai, get up. Kafshu pneim bakarka. They all covered their faces because they were afraid of Yanai HaMelech. He was a tyrant. He was a dictator. Nifnei lismailai. They turned to the left. Kafshu pneim bakarka. They turned their faces down because they were afraid they were going to be arrested. Shimon said to his colleagues, Bali machshavas, you make like you're thinking about something and you don't want to answer. Let God, who knows what's going on in your head, pay you back. Yad, at that moment, Gabriel and Gabriel came and smote them into the land. Umesu, and all, I guess, all those people died that were on the court. So, because they were cursed by Shimon and Sata. Again, the point of the story is that the courts are intimidated by these types of kings. They said Melech Loidan cannot be a judge. Loidan and Oisain, we can't judge him. So once you can't judge him, you can't be a judge. Then the Mishnah says Loi Choylitz v'Loi Cholzer. A melech cannot do chalitza. In other words, part of the chalitza process. Let's say the king's brother died, and he wants to do chalitza, not marry the woman. The woman has to spit in front of him. So we don't allow chalitza. So wait a second, we can't do chalitza. So why not? He should always have, so he can't be Michael on his kavod. So you can't be Michael on his kavod. So therefore, why could he do Yibam and Chalitza? Okay, because it's let's say it's Chalitza Gnai He Loi Lovei Bebezin Tehei Reikekas Levanav Yibam Gnai Hu Loi Lokam Al Shem Achiv. So we say, even if you say a melech if he would try to forgive his honor, it would be Michael. And it says Gemara mitzvah shani. By a mitzvah, it's different. The mitzvah of Yibin will uproot this law. The ein noisin, we don't get married. Tanya, we don't marry. In other words, the Mishnah continued on to discussing the wife of a king. When the king dies, nobody can marry his wife. Rabbi Yehuda said that another king can marry his wife because there was a pasuk in Tanakh that said that David HaMelech married the wives of Shaul. So that was it seemed like a clear pasuk. So what did the Chachamim answer back? There's a pasuk that said David HaMelech married the wives of Shaul after Shaul got killed. Tanya, we learned to the Brisa. Amr loy Rabbi Yehuda said that's Nashim Haruyis loy bebeis HaMelech. Umanihu meirav imichal. That means David HaMelech did not marry the wives of Shaul HaMelech. He married the daughters of Shaul HaMelech. They came from a kingdom family, and therefore they rejected Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that another king can marry the wife of a deceased king. Now, the Meirav and Michal are the daughters of Shaul HaMelech. Let's just briefly say over that Shaul HaMelech made two challenges. One challenge was whoever would kill Goliath, the big giant, would get he would make him wealthy, and he would give his daughter Meirav as a wife. So David HaMelech with the slingshot killed Goliath. So he was entitled to Shaul's daughter. But he didn't give her kedushin because the way he was going to mekadosh Meirav was to be moichel the wealth that Shaul promised him. Well, being moichel a choiv, a debt, is not a way to Mimkadish a woman. So Shaul, in his jealous anger, gave Meirav to somebody else. We're going to learn his name very shortly. Now, then David HaMelech was given another challenge by Shaul. If you kill out a lot of Plishtim and you bring me, their foreskins, right? You cut off their foreskins, so then I will give you Michal as a wife. And David HaMelech, and I'll make you rich. And David HaMelech killed a lot of Plishtim and brought the foreskins back to Shaul HaMelech. And still Shaul did not give Michal to David HaMelech. He gave Michal to somebody else. Now, eventually, David HaMelech married both wives. He married both ladies, Meirav and Michal, both daughters of Shaul HaMelech. Now, the question the Gemara asks, Shaulu Talmidav es Rabbi Yossi, Heich Nasa David Shtei Achayis B'Chayim. How is he allowed to marry two sisters, Meirav and Michal? They asked Rabbi Yossi. You're not allowed to marry two sisters. Amalahan, Micha, Acha, Meiras, Narsa. Rabbi Yossi said, Michal, he married after Meirav. So he indeed married Meirav, and then Meirav died, and then he married Michal. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha, Kedushi Toyis, Hayoloi Meirav. He never really married Meirav. It was a mistake because he never really had kedushin with Meirav. Shnema, the pasuk says, "Tnos ishti es Michal shurasili b'mei arls plishtim." When David said to Shaul, "Give me Michal, my wife Michal," that's my wife. And because I'm being Kaddish her, because I'm bringing back 100 foreskins of the Plishtin. My Talmuda, what do you see from that pasuk? That Meirav was not a real, the first challenge did not bring Meirav as his wife. Omra Papa, Michal Ishti v'le Meirav Ishti. He meant to say, you're right. Meirav was never my wife. Michal is my wife. So the Mai Kedusha Ta'os, what was the mistake that happened with Michal? The Ksiv, with Meirav, what went wrong? He killed Goliath with a slingshot. Because the pasuk says, whoever's going to kill this Goliath, Shaul said, Yashrena Melech Gadol, I'll make you wealthy, and I'll give you Meirav as my wife, as your wife. Azal Katle. So David killed Goliath with a slingshot. But he never gave Kedushin. Amalei, Milva Islach Gabai, Shaul did not want to give Meirav to David, and he said, what are you trying to be Mekadesh my Meirav with? With the loan that I don't have to make you wealthy? That doesn't mean. If you Mekadesh with a loan that I don't have to pay that loan, that's not enough. That's not a way to Mekadesh a woman. You have to actually give something to the woman, not be Moichel Achoiv that the woman owes you. So therefore, Azel Yavel Adriel, he gave Meirav away to this person called Adriel. The Ksiv, the pasuk says, "Vahi beheis teis Meirav bashol David," and they had 5 kids. So he never gave David a Meirav, according to Rabbi Shua ben Karcha. He gave Meirav to this person called Adriel. Amalei. So Shaul said to now gave another challenge to David. If you want to get Michal, zil aisili mea arles plishtim. Kill 100 plishtim and bring me their foreskins. Azal aisili. So David killed 100 plishtim and he brought it back to now he was going to get wealth, and Shaul still owed him money, and he's giving the foreskins as kedushin. So Amalei. Milva apruta islich gabai. Now I'm giving you foreskins, which is worth something, a few pennies, and plus you owe me money because you're supposed to make me wealthy. And therefore, your daughter Michal is really my wife. Shaul Sava, that's not your wife, because Milva apruta daita milva. When a person is Makadesh, a woman, and he gives her a choice, 2 things. I'm moichel achoiv that you owe me, plus I'm giving you a penny. The woman thinks that the milva is the main part of the kedushin, and therefore she doesn't care about the penny, and because of that, therefore she's not mukudeshes. The David Sava milva apruta daita apruta. When you give a woman a milva apruta, her thought processes is on the pruta. So really, she was mukudeshes to Michal. That's the first way to learn. Another 2 minutes and then we'll stop. I just want to, because it's a lot of words here. If you want, so therefore, Rabbi Shua ben Karcha said, Meirav he never really married Meirav. He only married Michal. The Ibayasema, The kuli alma milve pruta daite pruta. Really, even Shaul would have agreed that that if the foreskins was worth something, the fact that David brought back the foreskins, that would have been enough to be Mekadish's daughter, Michal. But Shaul held, loy chaziv loy midi. Foreskins are not worth anything. The David Sava chazi lekalviv shinri. Those little foreskins that he cut off the from the organ of those plishins are worth, at least you can give it to your dog or for cat food. So therefore, that's why he felt that he was Mekadesh Michal. Rabbi Yossi held that David was really married to both of them. Why did David HaMelech only tell Shaul, Michal is my wife? He really married Merav also. Rabbi Yossi Latameh. Rabbi Yossi goes according to his reasoning. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi Haya Darish Mikrois Miravim. Rabbi Yossi would darshan that the pasuk seems to contradict itself and had a new teaching. Kosiv v'yikachas hamelech ashnei b'nei ritzva bas ayash yod l'shol alad moini v'esav nefubashis chmeishu b'nei Michal ash yod ladriya m'cholase. There were 5 sons of Michal that were born to Adriel. Now, we just said that Adriel was given to Meirav, right? V'chi Adriel nasna, Michal was given to Adriel, v'lalepalti ben Laish nasana. But we are going to learn that when David HaMelech when Shaul did not want to give Michal to David, after bringing those foreskins, he just pawned off his daughter to marry Palti. The Ksiv, Shaul Palti by that. He gave it to this person to Palti. Ella Makish Kedushi Meirav Ladriel Kedushi Meirav Ladriel and Kedushi Michal Palti. Ma Kedushi Michal Palti Ba'avera, Af Kedushi Meirav Ladriel Ba'avera. So what he said here is that really the pasuk just juxtaposes that just like he was really Mukudeshes, Michal was really David's wife. So the fact that she was given to Palti by her father Shaul was a big avera of Shaul. So also, really, he was also Mukudeshes to Meirav. And the fact that Shaul gave his wife away to another person called Adriel was a big avera that Shaul Melech did. So there's another pasuk that said that really Meirav was his wife as well. And the Gemara is going to say, okay, Rabbi Yeshua, okay, we'll stop right over here. We're going to start from Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Again, just to remember, is the machlekes in the Gemara, who were David's wives? Everybody agreed Michal was his wife, but the question is, was he also married to Meirav? According to Rabbi Yossi, yes, and he only married Michal after Meirav died. According to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, he never really married Meirav. He was only married to Michal because Meirav was a mistaken. He never, was a mistaken kedushin, and therefore he was not married to Meirav, the daughter of Shaul. Okay, we'll continue this story tomorrow.